Hey, how you doing? Devin here from Lightning Lessons. I'm going to go into video 2 in a series of 5 about the major scale today. Okay? So if you haven't watched the first one, go ahead and watch it. Or if you want to jump right into this one, number 2, that's fine too. This is kind of, I think, an introduction for people who haven't experienced the major scale before that hopefully includes some material very useful for intermediate or even more advanced players. So let's go ahead and dive in. Brief review of last time, we ended up with the major scale in this position right here. Okay, and we emphasized the way to get whole steps and half steps from moving from one string to another string, okay? That information is if we are on any of the strings that's not strings 3 and 2, if you want a whole step from one note, from one string to another, you have a space of 3 frets, okay? So if I was here, 3 frets over, that's a whole step right there, okay? And a half step is 4 frets over, like this. Okay, and that's the same on this string. Whole step, 3 frets over, 3 frets lower, 4 frets, 3 frets for a whole step, 4 frets for a half step. Crucially, right here is the difference. 2 frets for a whole step from string 3 to string 2, okay? Right, this is a C, that's a D. That's a space of a whole step. For a half step, there's a space of 3 frets, and then from string 2 to 1, it goes back to the same pattern. Space of 3 frets for a whole step, space of 4 frets for a half step. Okay, if you want a deeper, slower explanation of that, it's in video number 1 in this series. Okay, so we had this position right here. People give the positions different names. We could call this position, there's lots of different numbers. I'm not even going to give it a number. You might call this position 2, right? Some people might call it C, A in like the cage system, because this looks like a C and that looks like an A. It's a whole big concept that I might go into in another video that you can look up if you haven't seen before. But really the main thing to notice is just we played it here and we're in this position that was kind of around the 3rd fret right here with our first finger on the 2nd fret. Okay? Now, to dive in what we're going to do next, right? What we're going to do is we're going to base ourselves kind of around this position here. Now, this is like a root shape. It's kind of like a position where we can find 3 C's or 3 roots, right? It's a movable shape you could play anywhere to get the same notes. Okay, so if that was a C, these are also C's, okay? So this is the 8th fret on the E string. This is the 5th fret on the 3rd string. This is the 8th fret on the E string, all right, the little E string. So now first things that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually just play this with my pinky right here, actually, okay? So following the major scale pattern, we just need whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, okay? Starting here from the C, we need a whole step. If you remember, that's a space of 3 frets. So you have whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, okay? So that's the major scale in 1 octave in this position right here, okay? Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Now just to dive in briefly on that little spot where I have to kind of adjust my pinkies here and my first finger's on the 5th fret, I need a whole step from here, right? And we're probably not gonna get it with the pinky. I don't like that kind of a stretch myself. So I'm stretching a little bit farther for that. Another way to do that might be to actually get my pinky right here. This is on the 7th fret of the D string, so that there's an easier stretch here to the 4th fret of the G string, okay? So again, we have whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, okay? Now to continue the pattern up the octave, right? We're on the C right here. So we have whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay, and then we've ended on the root right there. Okay, so starting from the second octave with my first finger on the 5th fret here of the 3rd string, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay? Now, let's start from the beginning, going upwards one time, and then we will go backwards from there. So, starting here at the C, 8th fret, E string. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay? Now, let us go backwards, right? I'm gonna do a little shift like that to get that. Shift to the first finger. Okay. Now, I'm just gonna add a couple notes here that fit in this position that are part of the scale, okay? Now, how did I determine that, right? I'm doing the same pattern, but in backwards. Another way you might think of this with this whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half thing is with scale degrees, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, okay? Now, you can just think about how the half steps exist between steps 3 and 4 and 7 and 1, okay? So that might be an easier way for you to think about it, to be able to do it backwards and forwards easily. So if we were here, right, 1, 7, 1 to 7 is the half step. The rest are going to be wholes. 6, 5, 4, 4 to 3 is the half step. 2, 1. 7's the half step. 6, 5, 4. 3 is the half step. 2, 1. 7 half step. 6, 7, 1. Okay? And that's just a way to play a C chord right here, okay? Okay, so to review, we have the major scale based in this position around this root shape, okay? Here's a C, here's a C, here's a C, right? We're filling it in with whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half that you can also think of as scale degrees 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 again, with the half steps being between steps 3 and 4 and 7, if I can, and 1. So the way we're practicing it, like in the other video, we're playing from the lowest root available in that position up to the highest note in that scale in the position, down back to the root, below the root that still fits in the position, back up to the root again, okay? This time I'll do it saying the scale degrees. You can play it along with me this time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 7, 1. And again, I'm playing like a C chord right here. Pinky, 3rd finger. 1st finger is barred. Okay? So, that concludes this video, which is number 2 in this series, right? First, we had this position that, you know, people have different names for the positions. As I said, this might be called position number 2, like in the Guitar Fretboard Workbook by Barrett Tagliano. Or it might be called like a A shape by some people in the Cage system. Okay, this one, right, might be called position 3. It might be called a different number. It might be called a G shape by the people who are adhere to the Cage system mentality. Okay, so in the next videos, we'll go over the other positions as well. Hope this is helpful for you. Thanks a bunch for checking out the video. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, and happy playing. Talk to you soon.